Hello and welcome. In this video, we'll go over these 3 easy ways to paint trees. Let's paint. In this example, I use a 1-inch flat brush. This is going to be a wow wet on wet technique. So first we'll wet the paper. And now I switch to a 1/2-inch flat brush. To create this effect, I just start to dab the brush on the paper since it's already wet in the direction where I want the branches to go, and the water just does the rest for you. The colors I'm using are Hooker's green with a little bit of raw sienna to create a lighter green color. Notice how the paint starts to bleed onto the paper, creating a sort of diffused effect, like the trees are off in the distance somewhere. When you do this, just remember to tilt the paper. And while we're at it, why don't we create a whole grove of these little pine trees? Aesthetically, an odd number of trees always seems to look better than an even number of trees. Now to keep these trees from floating in space, let's paint a little meadow for them to sit in. And there you have it. Once you get the hang of this technique should only take about a minute. To do this next technique, I start off with a 1/4-inch flat brush. First, paint the central stem to help define where the tree will go. Switch to a larger 1/4-inch flat brush if desired. Start by gently brushing the branches from side to side, going out from the center of the stem. This technique is a wad wet on dry technique. Could also stand for workout of the day depending on how hard you're brushing. Here the tree still looks kind of odd because it's way too skinny. So I'm going to expand the width of the tree as needed. And that should do it. I'll finish it off by redefining the central stem. If you're enjoying this video so far, please leave a like. A 1/2-inch flat brush is a comfortable brush for this technique. This is another wet on dry technique, but this time we're painting a different type of tree, showing more of its bark. This technique works well for trees in the foreground because it's going to have more detail than the previous examples. This type of tree could pass for either an evergreen or a deciduous tree during the non-dormant season. And here I'm adding the foliage around the tree, leaving some of the branches to show through for a more realistic effect. Now that we've got the initial wash laid out, I'm going through and adding some shadows. I've determined that the light will come from the right, so I'm going to put the darks of the shadows on the left side of the tree. Bear with me, I'm not going to leave it looking like that because it looks kind of crazy. I'm going to start to smooth it out to give it a more realistic effect. I'm bringing in a little more water to diffuse the paint. This still looks a little rough, but the main idea is there, and we can refine it as we go. Just finishing this example up by redefining some of the values. Hope you found this video helpful. Thank you very much for watching.